Okay, so I got this book called IELTS Speaking Actual Test Answers or Suggested Answers, and I had a look at some of the suggested answers. Some of them were okay, some of them were not so great. So I thought in this video I'd have a look at the answers and compare some of them to answers I would give to these questions. So I hope you guys find it useful. Here's our first topic. It's painting and drawing. And question number 1, do you like painting or drawing? And our sample answer, yes, I do. I used to be fancy of drawing when I was in primary school. I just enjoyed copying the figure in my drawing book and making use of any color as I like. I felt proud of being praised by my relatives when they saw my drawing pasted on the wall of my house. Okay, now fancy can either be a verb or it can be an adjective. Here it looks like this person is trying to use fancy as a verb. So instead we should say, I used to fancy drawing when I was in primary school. And then this phrase, I felt proud of being praised by my relatives. It's not technically wrong, but I don't think anybody's really going to ever say that. So instead, why don't we go with, I felt so proud when my relatives praised me. And then here, pasting drawings on the wall. Do people do that? Because to paste sounds like you're taking glue and sticking it on the wall. Instead of pasted, why don't we go with stuck? I don't think drawings are really pasted on the wall. It would be really difficult to get them off. So why don't we say, I felt so proud when my relatives praised me when they saw my drawings stuck on a wall of my house. And I replaced the with a, because surely a house has more than one wall. It's just one of the walls, not the wall. Now, what I might say to the same question is, not since elementary school, I just don't have the talent. I mean, my drawings are embarrassingly bad. Okay, and here is the second question on the topic of paintings. Have you ever bought any painting? I don't know why the word any is used here. I think it should just be, have you ever bought a painting, not any. And our sample answer, yes, I have. The only painting I bought was the one sold at the charity activity held in my secondary school. Each year, a fete will be organized when students donate something to sell to others, and the money will be collected to help students from poorer families. The painting was a copy of the famous painting Playing Shrimps by a new student, whom I made friends with later. Alright, so the one sold, by using the article the, it kind of sounds like only one painting was sold, which is probably not the case. So why don't we go with was one sold? And the charity activity hasn't been defined yet. This is the first time the speaker mentions it. So we don't need the definite article the. Let's go with the indefinite article a. And then this happens each year, but will be. If it happens each year, let's go ahead and say is. And then will be organized when students donate something to sell to others. So if we're going to be using when, it kind of sounds like the students donate something to sell to others, and then after that a fete will be organized, because when shows that a certain action takes place after another action. So why don't we use where instead? Because I don't think in this case A happens after B. And then again here the money will be collected, but since it happens every year, it should just be is. Now, how I might answer this question: paintings, no, I don't think so. But I remember I bought a framed, not framed, I bought a wood carving that has like a base, not a frame. So you can hang it on a wall. It's pretty big, as big as a portrait, and that's the closest I think I've gotten to buying a painting. And question number 3, how often do you visit art galleries? And our sample answer, once in a while really. When there's an art exhibition around, I usually find the time to attend it, no matter how busy I am. Short and sweet. I would just like to maybe suggest saying just once in a while instead of just once in a while. And how I might answer the question is by saying rarely. The only art galleries that are worth going to are the really big ones, like the Whitechapel in London, or there's a place in Amsterdam that's also up there, but I forgot its name. I only visit these galleries the first time I visit a city, if we have time on our itinerary, but on a return visit, I'd rather go see something else. I'm not that much into art. And here's question 4. Is it easy to learn how to draw? And our sample answer, as far as I'm concerned, if you're talented at it, you can learn it in no time. In fact, I've not received any formal training in how to draw, and it just followed my instinct. Alright, the talented, you can be talented in a field, but in this case, maybe it's better to say if you have the talent for it, the it referring to drawing. So if you have the talent for it, you can learn it in no time. And then here this it, I don't know what the it refers to. Maybe they mean, and I just follow my instinct. Maybe. I'm not sure what the it means. Okay, what I would say is, I'd say yes. If you have the talent, then yeah. But if you're not gifted, it probably takes some effort. So it kind of depends on nature to some extent. I don't have a lot to say about art, really. And there's an extra question on this topic, bringing the total to 5. Why do people display artwork? And the sample answer, most people do that because of their love of artwork. For example, people in love of photographing, though they're amateur and they prefer to hang the picture they took at home. Okay, love of artwork. I can't say I've ever really heard that phrase before. Love of art, sure. Love of music, love of literature, love of artwork. Sounds odd. Okay, people in love of, well, if you're going to be using in love, the preposition is going to be with. So, for example, you could say, for example, people in love with, but the noun here is going to be photography, not photographing. So you could say, for example, people in love with photography, though they are amateurs and they prefer to hang the pictures they took at home. But then I don't know why there would be an and in this sentence. That doesn't make sense. So what I think the person who wrote this is trying to say is, for example, amateur photographers might prefer to hang their pictures at home. But that's just a guess. And the second topic is dreams. Are dreams important? Just something about this topic, because if you just say the word dreams, it can be a little bit confusing. Are you talking about the dreams that people have when they sleep at night, or are you talking about people's ambitions in life? Because some of these answers seem to be about ambition, and some of these answers seem to be about what happens to you when you sleep, so it's kind of mixed. The sample answer to this question, well, this is an interesting question. I think we're all aware of how important dream is. Dreams motivate us to move forward, overcome obstacles to fulfill ourselves. Dream is something out of reach. Only when do people have no passion and patience, as well as life purposes. Honestly, I feel pity for whoever lives without dream, as they'll never know what they can do and how dreams can shape them. This kind of sounds like a poem. Here they use dreams in the plural, but then everywhere else dream is singular. So problem. So this should be dreams are. This should be dreams. This also should be dreams are. Here, only when do people. We don't need the do there. Dream is something out of reach, only when people have no passion or patience. Dreams are something out of reach, only when people have no passion and patience. I mean, there's nothing grammatically wrong with the sentence, but I don't really know what they mean. Okay, and this as well as life purpose. Let's substitute that with a purpose in life. When people have no passion, no patience, and as well as a purpose in life. Maybe they mean, I don't know, I'm not sure. But this life purpose should definitely be a purpose in life. Now, when I saw the word dreams, I thought about what happens to you when you sleep, not about ambition in life or life goals, anything like that. So I might say important. I guess it depends on what sense. They're important in the process of forming memories, aren't they? That's what I heard anyway. We process experiences during our sleep, and dreams are a byproduct of that process. So yeah, they're important, but not in any superstitious way. And the next question on dreams: do you like hearing others' dreams? Our sample answer: by all means. I suppose the dreams represent their current psychological stress or struggles that they express themselves in an environment considered safe. Therefore, when I listen to them speaking about their dreams, I can get an insight into their body, mind, and spirit. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this answer. It just sounds a little ridiculous, but okay. The second sample answer: surprisingly, there are those whose dreams can be a fortune teller. Therefore, I prefer listening to mysterious dreams of people surrounding me. They can predict what will happen in the future, which makes me very excited. Hearing others' dreams really catches my attention. Alright. Fortune tellers are people, not dreams. If you think that the dream is somehow telling you the future, that's an omen. We can use this for dreams, not fortune teller. Dreams of people surrounding me. If you say the people surrounding me, it sounds like they are literally standing around you, which is probably not what you mean. So instead, let's say people who surround me. My answer is not really something that comes up in conversation, but if it did, it's not really something I'm interested in. Dreams are kind of personal and don't really make a whole lot of sense, even to the person having the dream. The only person who really regularly tells me about their dreams is my wife. She's quite a bit more superstitious than me, so for her, they're a bigger deal. I really don't care. And the next question: do you remember your dream when you wake up? It says dream here. I think it should be dreams, plural, but anyway, that's the way I got the question. Sample answer 1: well, honestly, I completely forget most dreams I've been through. However, sometimes I had vivid dreams, which regularly haunted me. Every now and then, I had really pleasant and meaningful dreams, which I could remember well after awakening. And I love to take a trip down memory lane for a while. Okay, people don't go through dreams, they just have dreams. Now, here they use the present perfect tense. So, I don't know if the person is saying, because this is had and this also had, maybe they mean they don't dream anymore. Because here, every now and then I had, everything is in the past tense. So, maybe they're not dreaming anymore, I'm not sure. This last phrase about taking a trip down memory lane, but your dreams happen like a couple of hours before you wake up. That's too short of a time to be taking a trip down memory lane. If you take a trip down memory lane, it usually refers to thinking about more distant memories than what you dreamt about like 1 hour ago. Sample answer 2. You spend nearly 1/3 of your life asleep. So remembering your dream is such a challenge. Honestly, I hardly recall any of my dreams after waking up. Sometimes I manage to visualize a dream in graphic detail just because that dream does bring some strong emotions after I wake up. Alright, this should just be pluralized. This should just be dreams. And what I would say is, not really. There's that short moment of time right after you wake up when the dream is still vivid in your mind. But that moment of clarity is just that, a moment. And then it all just fades away. Okay, the next question, would you like to learn more about dreams? And our sample answer, let me just move this. To me, dreams always beg a question. I often wonder why we dream, how dreams occur in our life, and how they can predict what will happen in the future. Therefore, I'd like to look into them more carefully to figure out the mysteries lying beneath my dreams. Okay, the person here uses this phrase, beg a question. Actually, the phrase is beg the question. But more importantly, they use this wrong. Now, originally, to beg the question means to use like circular logic in your thinking. But so many people started using this phrase incorrectly that now it kind of means like to elicit a question or to raise a question. And that's become acceptable. But here, what is the question that's being begged, or what's the question that's being raised? They don't say. So this is the correct phrase, but it's not used correctly in the sentence. Okay, this dream, it shouldn't be an S there. Figure out the mysteries lying beneath my dreams. I don't think there's anything beneath your dreams. There might be something within your dreams, but not beneath. How I would answer the question, no, I have no interest in that. I have enough to do as it is, and learning about dreams is not something that's going to pay off. I'm not interested in that. Okay, and here is part 2. And the prompt is, describe a family member who you're proud of. I don't have the cues for this, so just the sample answer. Well, the family member that first comes to my mind is my mom. I'm not sure about the others, but for me, I become closer to my mom as I grow up. Now, I highlighted the comes here because you're going to start speaking after you've had 1 minute to prepare. So this is not something that just comes to your mind. This is something that you thought about while you're preparing. So this is something that came to my mind as I was preparing. And then this, I become closer to my mom as I grow up. If this person is still young, it should be, I'm becoming closer to my mom as I grow older. Maybe not grow up. And if this person is already grown up, then I've become closer to my mom as I've grown older. Maybe they're confusing growing up and growing older. Okay, then the first thing of my mom that I'm proud of is her beautiful appearance. I was quite surprised when I took a look at the photos when she was at her 20s. Her beauty is traditional and Asian, with straight-edged nose, round brown eyes, thin lips, and straight long black hair. Alright, the first thing about my mom that I'm proud of, not all my mom. And the photos, no, it's not specified, so we don't need an article there. And this when she was at her 20s, photos of her when she was in her 20s. So this is the wrong preposition. And when she was in her 20s. This traditional and Asian, I don't know, it's not wrong, but do they mean traditionally Asian? Could be. That might sound better. Noses are countable, so we need and these prepositions, not prepositions, these adjectives, there's a specific adjective order in English, and it should be long, straight, black hair. So the order of the adjectives is wrong there. Going on, she's not very tall, yet she's slim and white. In addition, she has a soft but firm voice, which reminds me of the news reporters on TV. Although she's getting older and aging can be clearly seen, I must say her beauty remains the first thing not only me, but the whole family can be proud of. This yet, why is there a yet here? These two things are not in contrast. You can be tall and, you can not be tall. You can be short and still be slim. Why yet? Let's go with and. She's slim and white. Well, previously they mentioned Asian. So when we say white, usually people are going to think about race. So how about we say she's of light complexion. And this phrase, although she's getting older and aging can be clearly seen, sounds a whole lot better. She's noticeably aging. And this me, I think a lot of people might actually say me, but we really should be using the subject pronoun there, I. So not only I, but the whole family can be proud of. But I think so many people will say me, it doesn't really matter. Okay, the next thing I must highlight is her personalities. My mom is a strict and thoughtful person when it comes to educating her children. She tries her best to become a good role model that me and my younger brother could look up to. We learned cooking, doing household chores, and taking care of ourselves, which not only would us be able to live independently in the future, but also can help her after her long day at work. Okay. That was a little bit difficult to read. This person has some problems with putting modals and adverbs in the correct order. But let's start in the beginning. Personalities. She has multiple personalities. That sounds scary. That's a disorder. People just have one personality. I'm a little bit confused about the time. Is this still happening now? Because here could is used, but then here the present tense is used. So is this happening right now? Did this happen in the past? I'm a little bit confused about that. But anyway, to become a good role model so that, because we're talking about the purpose. So the purpose of her becoming a good role model is, well, all of this here. So if you want to say that the purpose is going to follow, then we need the phrase so that. Now here, this would, which not only would. The would comes before the adverb, which can help her after, which also can help her. Here the same thing, which can also help her. Please put the modals before the adverbs. And this her here, it's not wrong, but very commonly people will just say And then moving on, what makes me adore my mom more is that she is also a knowledgeable person. Her general knowledge amazes us all the time. Besides, how she manages her work and her daily life is such a value of maturation that I desire. The more is not wrong, but maybe even more. Just sounds more stylish. Now this, the word besides is used, But this has absolutely nothing to do with this. Because he talks about, or she, I don't know, that their mom is so knowledgeable, but then they talk about these things which have nothing to do with general knowledge. So why is the word besides used there? It's not connected at all. During the time I studied abroad, the one I shared a lot of ups and downs with is her. Oh, I just noticed now this should be was, because this happened before. So put that in there. Was her. I hope that as I grow up, I could become as mature as her. I'm a little bit confused, because if you study abroad, presumably you're an adult, but you're hoping to grow up. And here, the past tense is used. It kind of makes it difficult to know what time that all of this is happening. And it just makes it a little bit confusing. Because grow up, present tense, but then past tense is used. Okay, let's move on to the part 3 questions. In a typical family, who plays the leading role? Well, the stereotype is that the father is the breadwinner of the family, the person who makes the decision and takes responsibility for the whole family. This can be understandable because the father tends to occupy high positions in society, while the mother tends to be housewife or only gets involved in some trivial work like cleaning or babysitting. Okay, now this phrase here, the person who makes the decisions and takes responsibility for the whole family, this is supposed to be a defining relative clause, but they don't say who is defined. Oh, there should be a period there. So we need this, because this is who we're talking about. The person who we're talking about is the father, but that's been omitted in this original sentence. Then father to occupy high positions in society. I think it should just be plural, because they're talking about work, because it's just breadwinner. So I'm assuming it's work. So at work, people just have one position. So it should be the mother tends to be housewife. This is a countable noun, so we need an article. However, this is not really the case in modern society, where freedom and equality is being put a higher emphasis on. Women are as successful as men and are no longer in charge of the monotonous household chores like they were in the past. Is being put a higher emphasis on. Why don't we just go with are emphasized? And then the next question, in your country, what kinds of family members usually live together? Well, to the best of my knowledge, despite the increasing popularity of nuclear families, extended ones still exist in Vietnamese society. Usually both parents and 1, 2, or 3 kids would live together under the same roof. In other cases, a grandmother or grandmother joins them to take care of the small kids while the parents are away for work, for example. Now this grandmother or grandmother, I don't know if they mean a grandmother or grandmothers, or grandmother or grandfather. Could be either. We don't need the modal here, because this is things that usually happen. So we can just say 1, 2, or 3 kids live together under the same roof. And then continuing, other less common situations are many generations reside in the same house, usually a multi-story house. Families like these often consist of an uncle, aunt, and their families, and so on. Typically, many problems occur when a great many members are in a similar place. So other less common situations are when many generations reside in the same house. And since it's the same house, it's not a similar place, it's the same place, because they're all in exactly the same house. Okay, the next question. Do young and middle-aged people live with old people? It's kind of a strange question. Frankly speaking, unlike in Western countries where it's common to send older grandparents to nursing homes, most people are bound by their duty, which means they should, or in another sense, have to pay back what their parents have given them. As a consequence, the younger generation and middle-aged people tend to share the same house with older people. Now, should and have to, I mean, they are so similar that they don't really exist as different senses or different perspectives. It's pretty much the same perspective. So we don't really need this phrase. We can do without that. And this question, what would children do to make their parents proud? I don't know why the would is here. It should be, what do children do to make their parents proud? Okay, I guess kids can have good performances at school and behave well to their teachers and the elders. Parents usually take a great pride in their kids if their children get a good score at school, or when others tell them that their kids are nice people. As well as this, I deem it a necessity if children help their parents out with mundane tasks around the house, like sweeping the floor or washing the dishes. Okay. I love this deem it a necessity. When people talk, they really don't say I deem it a necessity. But there's nothing wrong with that, but people are just going to say I think it's necessary, not I deem it a necessity. Anyway, I guess kids can have good performances. No. Kids can't perform well at school. Because this performances, this sounds like, I don't know, like a school play or something. Behave well to their teachers, towards their teachers. The elders, I guess it's not wrong. But here we already have this possessive adjective there. So their teachers and elders, meaning their elders. So it's not wrong, but we don't really need that. Parents usually take a great pride. Pride is not countable. We don't need the let's see. I deem it a necessity if children. Well, if it's a necessity, this is not a yes/no situation. This is not a if. This is not a conditional situation. So we don't need the if. I deem it a necessity for children to help. Okay. And that's the end of this part 3 of the speaking.